Alright, starting out with Unit 3, Lesson 11. Today is November the 5th. I'm going to go ahead and write down the date right here. 5th. Okay. We're going to write equations for vertical and horizontal lines. Okay, so we've been writing equations for lines that are either going up or going down. If you watch the video for slope dude, then you would know he would say puff, puff, positive if we are going this way, and he would say nice, negative if we are going downwards. Okay, so we know that the slope is positive or negative. And then the other two things that he mentioned is that if it's a flat ground, then we're going to say this is zero fun because the slope is 0. The other one where he's going to fall down, we're going to define this one as undefined. Undefined. Okay, so these are our background knowledge of what types of slope we know. I'm going to check out 11.1, which one doesn't belong. So looking at A, B, C, D, I want you guys to take a minute just to see which one you think does not belong. And then we're going to talk about, the reason for each of these. For A, I'll say A does not belong with the rest of it because all the other ones, they are either positive or 0 slope. A is the only one that has a negative slope. Okay, so that will be the reason why. For B, I noticed that A and D, the lines are parallel to each other. C, I only have C, same thing, they are parallel to each other, but only B, the lines are not. So I'm going to write it down. Lines are not parallel. For C, this is the only one that have a slope of 0. So I can say that C is different than the other ones because the lines have 0 slope. For D, if you look closely, the only difference that D is the rest of it, they have a y-intercept of 10. See where the graph meet with your y-axis. Where your graph meet with your y-axis, your graph meet with your y-axis. But only this one, the y-intercepts are not going through 10 right here. So neither lines goes through 0, 10. Moving on to 11.2, this is where the main idea for this lesson right here, we're going to plot at least 10 points where y coordinates is -4. I'm going to write a couple examples of what is y coordinate is for. So let's say when x is -4, my y is -4. When x is -2, my y is still -4. When x is 0, guess what? My y is -4. When x is 3, my y, same thing, is going to be -4. So that's what they meant. So let's go ahead and plot at least 10 points that the y coordinate is -4. I'm going to go ahead and plot these 4 points so we can see how it looks like first. So now I got those 4 points right here, but I need at least 10 points. So I'm going to add more points right here. So again, y is -4. Y is -4. Again, this is our y-axis right here. This is the y-axis. I want it at -4. -4. Your y is -4. Alright, what do you notice about them after I plot all the points right here? Well, I noticed that all the points all lie on the horizontal line that crosses the y-axis as -4. So I know that this horizontal line goes through the y-axis at -4. Another thing that I noticed is that this line right here is parallel to my x-axis. They are parallel to each other. So I'm going to go ahead and write that out as well. parallel to the x-axis and 4 units down from it. So that's what we notice right here. Number 2, which equation makes the most sense to represent all the points with y coordinates at -4? Explain how you know. So x is -4, y equals -4x, y equals -4, x plus 4 equals -4. Remember, every time your coefficient of x, that means the number multiplying x, this is representing your slope. And looking by the graph, we know that the slope is not -4, so I know that this is not one of the equation. The answer, let's see. All my y coordinates is -4. For every single point on this line, my y coordinates is -4, so it will make sense to use y equals -4 to represent the equation. At the same time, we don't have x because we don't have a slope. Slope is 0. We don't need 0 times x is 0, so that's why it's not in the equation. I'm going to go ahead and write down the reasoning right here. All points have the y coordinates as -4. All right, next page. Plot at least 10 points. This time is x coordinates is 3, and what do you notice about them? I'm going to go back to my graph right here. I'm going to plot 10 points for when x coordinates is 3. What color should I? I'm going to use purple. Okay. When x coordinate is 3, this is my x-axis, so 3 is right here. That means every single point will be at 3 for x. So when x is 3, y is 5. When x is 3, y is 4. When x is 3, y is 3. When x is 3, y is 2. When x is 3, y is 1. When x is 3, y is -1. When x is 3, y is -2. When x is 3, y is -3. Okay. So I guess you guys will see the pattern by now. We can go ahead and connect all these points, and then we'll have one vertical line. What do you notice about this vertical line? Well, first thing again, we know that all the points lie on a vertical line that crosses the x-axis at 3. Is it parallel to anything? Yes, it is parallel to my y-axis right here, and it is 3 units to the right. We're going to put these in writing. Points all lie on a vertical line that crosses the x-axis at 3, parallel to the y-axis, and 3 units to the right. Number 4, which equation makes the most sense to represent all the points with x coordinates 3? Explain how you know. So same reasoning as the last time, but this time is the x coordinate. So it will be x equals to something, and that will be our answer. Okay, number 5, we're going to graph the equation x equals -2, and then also graph y equals 5. So I'm going to go back to my graph right here. I am going to graph x equals -2. So I'm going to go look at my x-axis. This is my x-axis. Go to -2. And I know I'm going to have a line that goes through this point. So it has to be a vertical line then. Okay, and I know that this line is x equals -2. The other one that they want us to graph is y equals 5. So y equals 5, I'm going to go to my y-axis, go to 5, plot this one point, and have a line that passed through this point. So it's going to be a vertical line in order for me to pass through that point. And this line is going to be y equals 5. All right, I'm going to move on to 11.3. All right, right here. There are many possible rectangles. Those perimeter is 50 unit. Complete the table with length is L, width is W of at least 10 such rectangles. All right, this part right here is a little tricky, because we are looking at another form to write an equation. So I know that 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, that's how you find the perimeter, and my perimeter is 50. So I can give out a couple examples right here. I know that if I have a length of 1, a width of 24, add up, I will get 50. So I'm going to write this out in my table. I'm also going to go ahead just to fill this table up for you guys, and then we'll move on from there. Alright, so these are just the combinations that I figured out, that I made out, but maybe you guys may have different answers from these. As long as you add up the perimeter is 50, then it should be fine. But we're going to use these data to plot our graph. So number 2 right here, we already have a rectangle right here. The perimeter is 50. So 15 with the length and 10 with the width. And then they want us to plot all the other point. So let's go ahead and plot all the other point right here. So starting with L is 1, width is 24. So this is the length. So L and width. Okay. L is 1, the width is 24. Second point I have is, let's see, 2 and 23. Oops. 2, 20, 21, 22, 23, right here. I'm just going to let you guys complete plotting this graph, and then we'll come back together. You guys should have a graph looks like this. Go ahead and connect all the dots and have one straight line on your graph. And then you will figure out that the y-intercept will be at 25, because when you extend your line, that is where your graph touches your y-axis. So moving back to the next question, we need to write an equation for it. We know this is how an equation look like, y equals mx plus b, and we just have to replace two things right here, our slope and the y-intercept. Just like what I said, we already know what the y-intercept is, which is 25. So I can replace the b with 25. Okay, we don't need the b anymore because it's like a placeholder for the information. Same thing with the slope. If you look at the slope, then you're able to figure out that it is a negative slope, and it actually is -1. So I'm just going to put a negative sign right here. So replace your m with a -1. I don't show my 1 because it's called invisible 1. I don't need to say that it's there for you to know it's 1. So it automatically, if I have 1x right here, it is 1 in the front. So there's only one way to show this equation. You can rewrite it as y equals 25 minus x is the same thing. Or there's another way to show it. 2x plus 2y is 50. Because we know if I times 2 for the width plus times 2 with the length, then I'll get 50. So this is like a new way to show an equation, and we have a name for it. This one, we call it, this is the standard form to show an equation. You guys are going to use this one more in 9th grade, but in 8th grade, we're going to focus on this format. Again, we have a name for it. We call this the y-intercept form. The reason why we call it y-intercept form, because we're able to identify what the y-intercept is. That's why. All right, we can move on and finish your practice and exit ticket. And if you're done with everything early, then you guys can start working on Dreambox. Let me know if you have any questions.